Hello, genealogists. It's Craig, and this is Just Genealogy. And this week, we're going to be spending a lot of time on citation, at least as many days as I can figure out things to say about citation. And then we'll end up with the final event with genealogical proof standard and citation. I got to thinking about what I've said about citation already, and I realized that I may have said something that might be misinterpreted. Or maybe I didn't say enough about something so it wouldn't be misinterpreted. I have learned about genealogy from a lot of good people. And one of them is Helen Leary. And she taught me, the other day I said a genealogy without citations is crap. Well, Helen Leary would never say that. She might think it, but she wouldn't say that. So what she said is that a sourceless note is a handful of honey. All you have is a sticky mess. And whatever you've touched with your honey-covered hands is contaminated. It will draw ants. A house full of ants is unacceptable. So is a file full of sourceless notes. I was reminded of that because I saw Snooki on a meme or something the other day about something where she described that she was a hot mess from the Jersey Shore. And those of you who know me, although I don't admit it very often, I am from the Jersey Shore. And I don't know whether I'm a hot mess or not, but I think that a genealogy that doesn't have citations is a hot mess. Or as Helen Leary would call it, a sticky mess. Or as I think of it in my own brain, as crap. Also, when I talked about it previously, I may have left you with the impression that when I sat down with what I was doing, collecting the citation was not important. And that's far from the truth. Because when I sit down with something, before I even look at it, I collect the pieces of the citation that are necessary to create the citation. And I write them down, either on a piece of paper or I stick them in my computer into a Word document, which is at the head of whatever it is I'm going to collect. Or one of the problems we have is we photo a lot of things. And it's hard to do citations with photos. So I will take the citation and then provide the date and, the place where the photo was taken so that I know which part of my photos on my computer or on my phone I'm actually dealing with. And then I also photograph title pages and title reverses if the copyright date is not in front of the page. You may notice with anything that we do at Heritage Books, the copyright date is always on the front of the title page underneath the words Heritage Books. That way you don't have to copy the title page. That said, you want to collect that citation data first before you even look at the material. And the reason you do that is you would be tempted after looking at the material and not finding anything just to reject it. And that's not a good idea because you looked at this. Even though it's negative, it has to end up in your research log. It should be part of your report, or it could be part of your report, depending. Don't pretend for a moment that you're smart enough that you can hold that information in your head until you get home, because you probably can't. You might be able to, but I'm convinced that when I finally get around to some things 3 months later, I can't remember squat. So it's important for you to, in writing, either longhand or in your computer, put that citation information down. And you want to be honest when you do it. When you collect the information from that citation, you want to make sure that you have described why you chose to look at this. That's always helpful in trying to orient yourself and focus. I don't do that often enough. When I do that, it makes my life a lot easier. You want to make sure that you do everything with that source thoroughly. One of the problems with sources is because we focus on one thing when we're looking at them, usually, we always have to go back to them because we found another thing that we want to look at inside that source. And because our genealogy is an ever expanding process, we don't focus on one thing and then forget about it. We focus on one thing and then build on it. That's why I collect books about places that I'm interested in, because even though I may go and look for a marriage per se, I'm going to be looking for other marriages. A good example for me is I was looking for the marriage of John Owen Scott, who married Martha Parkhurst, and they got married in Davidson County for years. Knew that. And then I decided, as I became a better genealogist, I should expand my scope and look at all of John Owen's siblings. And who did they marry? And all of the marriages are in the same book I looked at before. And all of the marriages were, in fact, done by the same minister, the Reverend Hume of the Second Presbyterian Church of Nashville. Sort of strange that researchers before me thought that Samuel Thomas Scott was a Quaker. Can't figure that one out yet. Or that his parents, who I don't know, were Quakers, but whose parents that other people think they know were Quakers. Quakers don't become Presbyterians where I come from. Very rare occurrence. And you also want to make sure that anything you copy down, citation, and whatever you copy, you do accurately. I tend to sometimes use abbreviations, but they're only abbreviations that I use very consistently, so I know what they are. Nothing's worse than using an abbreviation that you don't know what it means. So if you see an abbreviation in a work, you better verify what it is before you actually throw it in your data. It's always useful when you photocopy the title page and the title reverse to also photocopy the abbreviations page. It may come in handy. Once you get used to doing citation, you will be able to free flow your citation in regards to all the elements. It may not be the final citation, but it will have all the elements necessary for the final citation. You want to make sure that you do it every single time. And that's about it. That's what Helen Leary taught me. She taught me about honey and a sticky mess. And remember, if you don't do citations, you will have a sticky mess. So this is Craig. This is Just Genealogy. And we've looked at source citation from what Helen Leary taught me. I'll go find somebody else. I'll start thinking about other things about citation fairly soon and give you something else before we dig down into the genealogical proof standard. Y'all have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't, hit that notification bell, do all that stuff, tell your friends, so I can keep doing this because I enjoy it so very much, although I am very tired. COVID hit the warehouse this week, so I don't have it, but I'm working by myself, so that means I'm doing the job of more than one person. And thanks for the opportunity to relax. See you tomorrow.